Today's horoscope from AstroCademy, Sagittarius, June 19, 2023. Saturn, your ruler, turns retrograde today. During this cycle that lasts until November 4th, you might consider reviewing and revising or editing some projects and commitments. A short dip in motivation is possible for particular learning, personal interests, communications, and socializing activities. There can be delays related to these matters, or pending decisions can pull you down temporarily. Returning to an unfinished project rather than taking on a new one is likely the most successful strategy in the months ahead. Find ways to reconnect with your priorities, which will help you get back on track sooner. The current shift can lend some heavier or more responsible themes to the week, but the cycle is a helpful one that reminds you where in your life it would benefit you to pare things down. Mighty Saturn's tough love is being turned within rather than forced down upon you now. This is because he is now fast asleep in your solar house. When he was strong in recent months, he was teaching you frustrating life lessons about how you speak your mind to partners or a sweetheart. But for now, with him weakened until November 4, 2023, you ascent a century being given a breath of fresh air to really assess the wisdom that this has taught you. If he's made it harder for you to travel, seize the moment now because you're being given a brief window before he throws hurdles up before you once again. Work should be a casual matter today. You may have quite a bit going on with your finances, so keep it light with your coworkers to distract from any scrutiny when Mercury in Gemini sextiles Venus in Leo. The sextile may also infer some chit-chat going around if you are allegedly connected to an entanglement, so it might be good to avoid feeding a rumor mill at work in any way possible. Meanwhile, you may feel like it is time to reconsider your communication and active listening skills when Saturn stations retrograde in Pisces. While Pluto left your income sector 7 days ago, today's new moon in your work sector is not only giving work and job matters the green light but is energizing planets that had all formed a friendly aspect before he left. These are planets that have already locked into the income potential Pluto has created, with today's new moon able to act as a trigger for both income and job potential. Today's energy is all about knowing what you need in your life in terms of structure, and then abiding by this in the most original and true-to-form manner possible. For instance, if you love ice cream and yet hate what it does to your body, it is paramount that you develop a love of tofutti or some other less troubling substitute. If you do not take the initiative, something else will, your cholesterol level, for example. This is not the day for reflection and quiet contemplation. This is a day in work, money, and ambition are far more likely to be prominent than anything else. Even if you don't feel like putting your nose to the grindstone at first, chances are you'll find yourself moving along once you get started. There will be time for space to yourself later. Be sure to get out there and do what needs to be done. Your financial security is equally as important. Weekend or not, as the Sun and Moon align in your work sector to create today's new moon, it is after already aligning with Mercury there yesterday. A new moon is all about new beginnings and riding the wave of forward momentum this can create, but just 9 days before all planetary activity on the job front for the year is about to run its course, this is also a chance to start tying up loose ends. While the Sun will leave next week, not before the dwarf planet Ceres returns to usher in a shift in focus from work and job matters and onto the career front in the second half of this professional year. The moon returns for both its ordinary monthly visit to your relationship sector and a chance to act as a bridge between Venus' departure 12 days ago and the Sun's return next week. This is the first time in 3 months that the moon has moved through without any planetary activity and returning just a few hours after Saturn turns retrograde in your communication sector, with a chance to give the past and unsaid words a voice from the start. Our eyes in the sky. The Sun shares a trine with Chiron this afternoon, giving us a chance to reconnect with our true selves and heal our egos a bit. This aspect can also help us reconnect with our voice, so take some time to journal in the morning if you can. This can also help you consolidate your deepest desires with your personal image. You should be able to move through fears and self-doubt in favor of working toward personal goals. Identity and emotion combine to bring us strength and comfort. The fiery energy is putting us into high gear when it comes to motivation. It might be difficult to sleep as you look for ways to work toward a better future. Unfortunately, an opposition between Venus and Pluto threatens to undo some of the good ego work we accomplished earlier in the day. The reality of the effort that we need to put into our dreams might be magnified and bring self-doubt to the surface. If you find these issues coming on, take a step back and relax. If you work well into the night, you might suffer from burnout and begin to question yourself. Drink some herbal tea and get a good night's rest so you can get back to work in the morning. Instead of turning our emotional radar outward, we go inward. This recalibration helps us to make breakthroughs about our character and behaviors. It can even enlighten us as to why we use pattern recognition as a mechanism for safety and security. An interest in our psychological workings will also make us curious about how others tick. Yet, where our probing might ordinarily be considered intrusive, others welcome our questions now, as they are likely conducting their own personal examinations. Following this aspect, the moon enters a void period lasting until after nightfall, suggesting we avoid starting new ventures. As many of us will be asleep at this hour, we should expect pleasant dreams. We may gain subconscious insights of spiritual or moral significance, helping us to tap into our idealistic side. The emotional highs we access should linger after we wake up, and we can take these good vibes with us as we start our day. Venus speaks to how we engage with love on the material plane, while Neptune speaks to how we access transcendent, mystical, divine love. When the two link up in a harmonious aspect, we literally feel love all around us. This aspect grants us gratitude for our circumstances and makes us want to share, connect with, and give back to those who have touched our lives in a positive way. This can also be an excellent transit for listening to music or attending concerts, museums, or films. Above all, this is a time for physical relaxation and mental and emotional thankfulness. Any interpersonal struggles that UOVE tried to cover up float to the surface now, and UOLL have a hard time ignoring them under this self-reflective retro motion.